Hi guys, this is Alexis from Reflections of a Bookaholic, and I'm here with two things today. One, I'm here with a plan with me using a beautiful kit from Simply Beautiful Plans, but I'm also here with a book review of the book The Duke and I. It is the Bridgerton series that is featured in the Netflix series. And since the new series on Netflix is coming out in March, I think March 25th, I wanted to go back and reread this series. And since I had read a couple of them, I decided let's talk about that. So I decided to do a book review here. So first, let me talk a little bit about the plan with me. So again, this is a kit from Simply Beautiful Plans, and I bought her mini kit. And because I got her mini kit, it only came with 7 full boxes. There are 7 days, but in order to put a quote box in the corner, I need 8 full boxes. So what I did was I pieced something together, got a little creative, and you'll see that here. This plan with me is a spread in my reflection planner. You know, it's just a memory planner where everything that goes in has already happened. And I do things very similar that I always do. I put down the base, which is the bottom washi, the date covers, the decoration of the date covers, and the sidebar. And these days, also the decoration of the month in the corner to just kind of be super extra, which I love. And this spread is no different. So I put down the base and then I get to planning. I use a lot of the stickers. I believe there's not very many new stickers from new shops that I use. And as always, I will post the shops that I use, stickers, the names of the shops, where the stickers that I use, where they come from, I will post that below. But if you have a question, because I'm going to be talking about a book and a series and a Netflix series and all that stuff in this plan with me, but if you have a question about a sticker and matching the sticker that I use with the shop name that's in the bottom, just comment below and it's going to be great. I would love to answer any questions that you have if you have them. So do that for sure. So, and if you, I don't know, if you have any questions at all, please comment below. I love comments and I will be sure to answer any questions you have. And from there, I do want to talk about a book. And I'm going to do a book review because that's what I do when I talk about books. So if you didn't already know, Reflections of a Bookaholic is actually the name of a book blog that I started back in 2010 or 11. I think it was 2010. And during that time, I was in law school and I was talking about books constantly to my then fiance, and he was just like, why don't you just start a book blog? And so I did. And all through law school and a little bit after law school, I did book reviews on the website is reflectionsofabookaholic.com or bookaholicreflections.com. Both of those links will get you to my blog. And I did that for a long time. And, you know, life got away from me and I did not or do not update it. However, I had so many reviews and it was the book community during that time when it wasn't on Instagram and, you know, all of those things. It was a great community and very active, and I didn't want to delete all of that. So you can always go to my book blog and search or look for books that, there's tons of resources there, tons of book reviews, lots of comments from other people, and you can always find something there. And so it's up. But I really haven't, you know, life has changed. I really haven't been doing reviews, and there's tons of reasons. And I've mentioned it before in some of my other Plan With Me's about it's just a lot harder for me to read, to just settle down my brain and read. And so at the time that I was doing my book blog and reviewing for, you know, publishers and authors and things like that, I was on a schedule of like 3 books a week and an audiobook. And I just couldn't maintain that schedule anymore. And it became just really a lot of pressure. And so I got away from that. However, I still love talking about books and I still love to read when my brain allows that. And so since I did do that recently, I just want to talk about it. And I can't talk about things without kind of giving you a summary of like, this is where it rates for me. And, you know, and then it becomes a book review. So that's what I'm doing now. So the book that I am talking about today is a book called The Duke and I put the book cover in the bottom right corner so you can see that, away from the Play With Me so it doesn't block anything. I like to see covers. They say not to judge a book by its cover, but I always do. This is the book cover. It's by Julia Quinn. It says Bridgerton at the top because it's part of a series. And this is the first book in the series, The Duke and I. However, because it is part of a Netflix series and very similar to what happens anytime a book is turned into a movie or a series of any kind, they often change the cover. I really hate that they do this. Usually I prefer the original cover because I feel like this advertises for the movie more than it tells you about the book. However, I also show you the book cover for that features the movie series cover, the Bridgerton, or The Duke and I, and Bridgerton at the top for the series. And it's not really a spoiler because if you've seen the series, and a lot of people might have seen the series first, then this is the couple that's featured in the first series. So I just wanted to show you both book covers in case you're looking for it. It makes it easier to find when you know what the book cover looks like. And so there you have it. I actually like this book cover, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I watched the Netflix series first before I read the book. This was not on purpose. But I did that because I thought I had already read the book. So when the series came out, I said, The Duke and I, that sounds familiar. I think I've already read it. And when I watched the series, I still thought, I think I already read it. But getting ready for season 2, I was like, let me go back and reread the book and read the next book in the series. I like to compare. I like to know what's coming, but I also like to compare the two. And that is when I realized that I'd never read this book before. So always fun to read a book for the first time, in my opinion. And so The Duke and I, if you haven't watched this series, it's a great series. But it's based on a book. It's a Regency romance, which I love Regency romance. They have, there are various tropes, and this one fits into one of them. But I find Regency romances to be comfort reads. I just like that dynamic, and this one's not very different. And in this one, it features the fourth sibling out of 8, Daphne, but she's the first girl. So that's the first of the book. And so each subsequent book features or focuses on one other sibling. So the second book is the oldest boy. And, she's number 4 and she's the first boy. So from there, you can kind of surmise that the next 3 are featuring the oldest 3 boys. And so Daphne, who's the oldest girl, she is entering her first season and she wants to be a success. But for various reasons, it seems like a lot of the suitors see her as a friend and she wants to kind of catch their attention. So here comes Simon Bassett, who is the Duke, and he really just wants to be left alone. But since he's a Duke, all the mothers want to marry off their daughters to the Duke. And so he gets bombarded when he goes to these parties. And so he wants to be left alone, and Daphne wants attention. And so they concoct this scheme to pretend like they are starting a courtship so that it grabs the attention of the ton and everybody's talking about them, and it makes the guys more interested, and it makes the moms of the ton leave the Duke alone. And that's the premise of the series, and that's the premise of the book. I think what makes it interesting, because we already know how it ends, we know how all of these end. That's the point of reading a Regency romance. But I think what makes this book good is the dynamic between, did I say Sam Bassett? Simon. Oh my gosh. The dynamic between Simon and Daphne. And I really enjoyed their dynamic. I love a witty dynamic between two characters. you're not going to get very much different in the plot, but, and, well, let me stop there. But when you have characters that are obviously, there's obviously a spark and a connection, and you get why there's a spark and connection, it's really enjoyable to read. There is a little something different about this series that sets it apart from other Regency romances. There's kind of a secret. There's a secret writer focused on in this book, and that's extra fun. And what I will say is, in this book, you don't find out who that author is, and you don't find out in the next book. However, the Netflix series tells you pretty early. So if you watch the Netflix series, then you already know. But this book doesn't tell you. And when it comes to the actual review of the book, I have a few thoughts about that. So if you take a look at my blog, you'll see that I give my ratings using various faces, like happy faces. My ratings are in 4 categories. So I will rate a book using an awesome face, a good face, a meh face, and a yuck face. So for this read, I'm going to give it a good rating. And I say that because I thought that the dynamic between Daphne and Simon was really good. It was very witty. But I do think that I was a little persuaded by the movie series. So the movie series is better than the book for this particular book. I thought the book was going to be so much better based on the movie series, but the book lacked. Well, okay, let me say it this way. In the book, the conflict resolution was too fast and not as detailed as the Netflix series. And so since I read the Netflix series first, that kind of was in my head. And this is not abnormal. This is typical of a, book of that size. And, it's a lot of build up and a quick resolution. And in this case, I felt like the resolution was too fast. I felt like the Netflix series was a little bit better of building up the tension and the attraction and, the connection. All of that was better. And typically in a movie, the book is always better because a movie doesn't have enough time. But a whole Netflix series, they have so much time to really flesh out the characters and just able to visualize and flesh out more characters. And that's what happened in the Netflix series. They were able to flesh out additional characters than it was in the book. The book was very focused on Daphne and Simon and just the Bridgerton clan in general, just the dynamic of that household. Whereas the Netflix series was just deeper. And that's really not, I'm really excited about season 2 for that reason. So I guess it's not just a book review. I'm also reviewing season 1 of the Netflix series. That wasn't my intention, but that's kind of what it's doing because I'm comparing the two. But, and also the Netflix series, the music, yeah, that was awesome. But getting back to the book, it just didn't have the time, and it didn't have the depth to the characters that you would expect in maybe a different type of book. But the Netflix series did that really well. So I give it a good rating because the dynamic between Simon and Daphne was good. And I liked those two characters and I enjoyed the read. I don't think that just because it is a book and the Netflix series has the ability to flesh it out more, that means that the book wouldn't or couldn't be better. Because having read a couple other books in the series, I do know that this one's not my favorite like I thought it would be, but some of the other books, they're spectacular. So all of that is to say, I give it a good rating, but it is closer to the rating, but I give it a good rating. I liked it and I would recommend it. And it did make me want to continue reading the series. I felt the series in the book got better, which makes me even more excited about the Netflix series. But it also made me really excited for season 2 of the Netflix series. So those are my thoughts about The Duke and I. If you have read the book or if you've seen the Netflix series, comment below. Tell me what you think. Are you interested in reading the book series? It is a pretty quick read. You can actually get them like three, I think them in three. So you can get 3 of the books in one book and so on. And there's a total of 8. If you want to do it that way, you can check out your library. It's an older book, so you might be able to find it. But I do recommend it. And if you like this style of playing with me, please comment below and let me know. And I can do some other book reviews of books I've read or are reading. So see you next week. Thank you. Bye.